Barely able to stand, 13-year-old Mohamed Salah seeks treatment at this health center in the south of the capital, Khartoum. Medics say he's suffering from bilharzia, a parasitic infection usually caused by lack of access to clean drinking water. His mother tries to comfort him through his pain, but she herself is barely able to hide her own discomfort.
We've been living on the streets for more than a week. Our home is completely flooded and we didn't receive tents. His father's also sick. He's mentally unstable and I can't give him his medication. If he had a tent, I'd be able to take care of him there.
The clinic treating Mohamed was set up nearly 2 weeks ago to help patients affected by recent floodings in many villages and towns in Khartoum. Many have fever, diarrhea and stomach infections.
My daughter has been suffering from diarrhea for the past 3 days. I myself am also sick and it feels like I'm coming down with an infection. My voice is now weak. It's all from the floods and living in the camps.
Floods hit Sudan after the Nile River, which flows through the country, rose to levels not seen in more than a century. The surge in water was caused by heavy rains on the Ethiopian highlands upstream. More than 100 people were killed and dozens injured, and at least 500,000 people were displaced, as homes were damaged or destroyed by the waters. The government declared a 3-month state of emergency last week, and while the river's water has started to recede this week, the number of those falling ill is increasing. Sudan was facing a health crisis even before the flood emergency. Pharmacies have been reporting shortages of medicines, and many hospitals lack adequate equipment. Since the floods began 3 weeks ago, the number of cases of waterborne diseases in areas affected have increased. Many families say they're struggling to cope with illnesses after having lost so much already. Aid organizations say the health consequences of the floods will be much worse in the coming days and that action needs to be taken now.
The biggest catastrophe is the waters. It was a disaster when it flooded, and it will be a disaster when it recedes. If not dealt with properly, and if there are no strategies to fight contagious diseases, we will have a bigger catastrophe than what we see. There will be stagnant waters, which will result in more malaria cases, and we'll have more diarrhea cases and more bilharzia cases.
Sudan was already struggling to handle the coronavirus pandemic when the floods hit. Those in areas affected say they're hoping proper measures will be taken to reduce the health risks now that the floodwaters are receding so that no more lives are lost. Hiba, Al Jazeera, Khartoum.